Hello and howdy everyone. Here to talk about the new film from Steve McQueen, 12 Years a Slave. One of the best movies of the year, easily. Incredibly powerful, very intense, very emotional. Certainly not, it's artistically enjoyable. You can certainly appreciate it. But it's nothing that I feel that I would want to experience again. It's very brutal. It's very honest. It doesn't, sugarcoat anything. And so therefore it's kind of an endurance test. It's one you should take. But it's definitely something that, will impact you. You won't forget it. I don't know if it's... the only film I'm going to compare it to for the entire length of this review will be Schindler's List. It's the only film that I could think of while watching, and even not any other obvious slavery movies. I just think this kind of blows them all out of the water. I can't really think of many slavery movies off the top of my head. Amistad, Django Unchained, but even that, I was like, even Django Unchained is not, the same type of animal that this is. It's just important. It's definitely important. It tackles a severe problem head on. Doesn't flinch. The movie is unflinching. And by the end of it, it's kind of literally unflinching. I'll try and get to that, point. It's just fantastic. I don't think I can give it a 10 just because a 10 for me is kind of an emotional thing. I just gotta say, oh, wow, that was a 10. The only reason I won't give it a 10 is because, I thought the second half was better than the first half. I thought it was going to be a little bit monotonous as we follow, I believe it was Oliver Northrop. He basically goes to a plantation, is deemed disobedient or troublemaker, and then shipped off to another plantation. And I was kind of thought that it was going to fall into that lull of repetition, but it did not. It broke out of that. And it isn't particularly stylish. I don't think it needs to be. I think any stylism would have kind of hurt the point, dampened the message. So I think that, again, even though it's pretty straightforward, just your standard, again, the cinematography is beautiful, don't get me wrong. There's just no, stylistic camera movements. It's just pretty straightforward. Just kind of a fly on the wall, witnessing these terrible actions. The movie is about Solomon Oliver. Solomon? Yeah, I think, yeah, Solomon. Just one of the worst stories you could possibly imagine, I would think. It's just, a miracle that he survived. I don't even know if I were to, be put in that situation, if I would survive it. It's just so dehumanizing that it's just, monstrous. There's no other word for it but monstrous, and just evil. He's tricked into traveling. He lives in, I believe, Boston, travels to Washington, D.C., is there kidnapped, and then taken down south and sold into slavery. This is a period piece taking place in the mid-1800s. And so he spends, as the title would let you think, he spends the next 12 years of his life as a slave in the South. I want to say Georgia, but I'm not entirely certain of that. and it's his, struggles to survive those 12 years and, to get back to his family. I mean, he's a family man. He was a free man. I feel terrible just even having to say, oh, well, he was free while others were slaves, but, he was a free man, so it makes it even worse, that seems weird. He had a family, he had a wife, he had 2 kids, and then he disappears. And he can't get word to his family for some 12 years. And it's just awful. It's just awful. And it's his struggle to, again, survive and to make it back to his family. Every, aspect of the film is pretty much right on the money. The acting throughout is just amazing. I'm sure we'll see probably someone from every category be nominated from this film. Best supporting and best actor, best actress in both supporting. I think they'll be able to find, someone from the film to for each one of those slots. There's a lot of new faces to me. But yet a lot of familiar faces. This is kind of, used a little bit of star power to help spread the message, which is, of course, fine. But a lot of new faces. Star of the show, and I'm going to, butcher his name, See, I can't even attempt to say it. I just watched him in Children of Men. Chalawa Ejiofor. I'm not sure how to say his name, but Ejiofor, you know who I'm talking about. He's been around for a while. He's always played kind of quiet, intense characters. Here he's, quiet, intense, a man with a mission. Brilliant. He owns the movie. He owns every scene. He keeps it grounded, keeps it real. Just an amazing performance. He will most likely get Best Actor. I'm not sure who can compete with him right now. It just kind of blows everyone out of the water in terms of what he must have endured to bring this character to life. Really, he's just, kind of amazing. So it's, right now, I think he would be the front runner. Also, the women in the movie are all tremendous. I found I'd say maybe there's 3 or 4 main, central, memorable women in the film. I'd say 3 are slaves, black ladies, and 1 is white. She's from American Horror Story. I was trying to remember her name. She was very evil in this and cold and chilling, and she was really good. But I don't know their names. I think they're young African actresses who they found for the film. They're just tremendous. They again, what they had to must have endured to bring these characters to life. It's just fantastic. And their performances are just brutal and, again, honest, like everything else in the film. The acting is just very real, very true, and everyone, even the smaller characters feel lived in, feel well-rounded, well-written. I can't tell you who wrote the screenplay. I was thinking maybe Stephen McQueen co-wrote it, but I don't think I'm right about that. It's taken from a novel, which I guess would be just an account of his letters or diaries of Solomon Northrop's firsthand account. I think he originally wrote it soon after his trials ended, but then it was modernized. I can't remember the whole detail of the story of it, but I know he wrote the book soon after his hardship was over. Lots of other big actors. Brad Pitt's in this. He was also a producer. Let's see, Benedict Cumberbatch, Michael Fassbender, just continuing his streak of being the go-to bad guy now in Hollywood. Who else is in it? I believe Alfre Woodard is in it for a little bit. Oh, come on. Some other people are in there. Taron Killam from Saturday Night Live is in there. I imagine he got that role because he does a killer Brad Pitt impression. I'm not remembering, or nothing's jumping to mind right now. That girl from American Horror Story, I can't remember her name, but there's plenty of names I can't remember here who are all outstanding. You know, for me, I mean, I knew I was watching a good movie the whole time. You know, sure, a heartbreaking movie, one that challenges you, one that makes you think. You know, maybe you don't want to watch it again, you know, for some time, you know, just because I do own Schindler's List, but it's not like I throw Schindler's List in to, you know, have a good afternoon at home, because it's, you know, incredibly depressing. So it's the same kind of thing here where it's like, you definitely need to see it. It must be seen, but, you know, whether you'll get a lot of repeat viewings or even a lot of enjoyment out of it, you know, that remains to be seen. But there's definitely a lot of, you know, artistry at work here to deliver, again, an important, most important message. The most impactful scene for me, when I knew I was watching, you know, something of you know, kind of high art, I kind of consider it the climax of the film. I you know, try and be spoiler-free as much as possible. And since I'm dealing with the climax of the film, I want to be extra careful about what I say. But there, you know, is a scene near the end of the film where Solomon Northup, he's near the end of his, he still doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. He doesn't know it, but he's almost out of the woods. And he just, the whole film like takes a break. You know, it just kind of stops for a second. And he is looking, you know, out into the distance. And eventually, without breaking that fourth wall, looks into the camera. You know, he's looking into the camera, but yet he's looking off into the distance, but yet we are, you know, looking pretty much dead on at his face. And his face fills the screen. It's pretty much all there is besides some, you know, ambient backdrop. But they just hold that, you know, and it just holds and holds. And for me, it became, you know, powerful. It was like he was challenging, you know, the film, and he himself was challenging everyone in the audience, you know, because you're just basically locked eyes with him for, again, what felt like a good 30 seconds, you know, of just watching him think and feel while staring directly at you. And I believe that it gives you a second to let it sink in. And I think it's the film saying, like, okay, this is the country that you live in. This is what it is built on. And these are the sins of the past. This is what we must defeat. How are we going to do it? What are we going to do it? And in that moment, all these questions come flooding into your mind. And it's because he's challenging you. You know, the film challenges you at the end. And I found that to be, you know, tremendously impressive. Where he just stops, where the film just stops, and he stares at you. And it gives you a second to think, you know, okay, you know, what are we doing? You know, what have we done? Is this forgivable? Is the wound too deep? You know, it just gives you a minute to absorb everything you've seen and, you know, try your best to identify with the pain that this man has endured. Just a really, and it just came out of nowhere. I thought it was going to, stop. I thought it would be like a 5-second, 10-second thing, but it seemed to just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. And at first I was, kind of like, okay, stop judging me. Stop, again, I felt it was kind of judgmental, but then it just, I don't know, I just started thinking about everything, and then I realized it was like, oh no, he's challenging us, he's saying like, okay, this is what it was, what will it be, what can we do, can it, can anything be done to make up for these, horrifying atrocities. So it was just really in the last maybe 20 minutes of the film, 15 minutes of the film, it just became, very powerful to me, overwhelmingly powerful. And the ending, it does have a happy ending. I saw somewhere that someone called it the unhappiest happy ending. And it, again, it just gives you that, like, how could anyone have survived this? How could it have happened to anyone? It's just awful. I don't really know what else to say. I just think it's a tremendous work of art. Again, I won't give it a 10 because there was just something inside that it didn't leap. My heart didn't leap at any time. Maybe a little bit, but not into that 10 slot. But well directed, well shot, very well written, all the characters fleshed out, so well acted, just brilliantly acted throughout. And of course it deals with, it's kind of required viewing. I would imagine, much like Schindler's List, I could see where schools would go to this film, even though it's violent and features nudity, much like Schindler's List did. I would think that school children even need to watch this, though it is brutal and very much adult. I think that it should be, it's required viewing. That's about all I can say. It's just outstanding, and I'm sure will be a dominant force on Oscar night. Or any other award night for that matter. I think that's pretty much all I got to say. I should probably just wrap it up, or I'll just end up repeating myself. I think I got everything. It's just, you need to see it. You need to see it. Even though it won't be very fun to do. You definitely have to see it because it'll get you thinking, it'll get you talking, and maybe, just maybe, we can start working towards something better, and to finally, unite a people that has been greatly divided, and see if we can recover from that. So that's 12 Years a Slave, and it's definitely one of the best films of the year. I'll give it a solid 9. Maybe if I see it again, I'll give it a 10. But I definitely, feel that, wow, I've seen it. I won't need to see that for some time because it's just so raw and brutal, but yet totally and absolutely true and honest and unflinching. So there you go. 12 Years a Slave, solid 9 for me. Thanks much.